Math is a wonderful thing. Math is a really cool thing. So get off your act, let's do some math. Math, 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 math.
Hey, Algebra 2. In this video, we're going to be talking about simplifying rational expressions. Now, you should have watched a video, like a Khan Academy video about like an intro to rational, I keep saying radical, rational expressions. Okay, take a look at that if this is like too confusing. But yeah, so we are just looking at simplifying rational expressions in this video. And honestly, it's not any different than simplifying a fraction. Okay, I mean, it is different. There's letters here, right? Now, what you cannot do here is, 18 over 18, it goes away. Yay, 6 over 12 is 1 over 2, x over x is 1, so the answer is 1/2. That doesn't work like this, okay? When you have binomials, okay, because binomial over binomial, we need to figure out first, we need to essentially factor, okay? So I have 6x minus 18 all divided by negative 12x plus 18. I want to split this up into factors. So I'm just going to look at the top. 6x minus 18. Greatest common factor, 6. And then what's left? X minus 3. All right. Let's do the same thing on the bottom. Greatest common factor. Anybody? Anybody? Also 6. I would say, negative 6. It doesn't really matter because the 12 is negative. All right, so I'm going to take a 6 out. When I divide by 6 over here, it's just a coincidence that they're the same. Okay, it doesn't really matter. We're just trying to factor them separately. So that would be negative 2x plus 3. Okay, now that I've rewritten my two expressions as factors, basically turned it into a bunch of multiplication, it's easier to cancel. Because I can cancel when everything's getting multiplied, not when it's just adding and subtracting. Okay, so let's look at what they have in common. What's on the same, like what matches on the top and on the bottom? Well, 6 over 6 is 1, right? So that's it. X minus 3 divided by negative 2x plus 3. This is my final answer because nothing else simplifies. I know that there's an x on the top and x on the bottom, but because of the addition, I can't simplify it anymore. I can't factor anything else out. All right, one more thing we need to talk about is domain here. And the reason that we have to start talking about domain is because we're having variables in the denominator. Okay, for a variables in the denominator. So I can't divide by 0, right? That's impossible. So what you have to do to figure out the domain or the restrictions, sometimes they ask about like restrictions or what makes it undefined. Okay, so what you do is you go back to the original equation. You just look at the denominator. So that's negative 12x plus 18. That is not allowed to equal 0. And I need to solve for x. Leave that, so when I had an equal sign with a slash through it, that means it cannot equal. So I'm going to just solve for x like we normally would. Negative 12x is not allowed to equal negative 18. So x is not allowed to equal 18 over 12. Let's take a look at this next one. I'm going to erase some of this. Okay, so I'll do this one. I'll explain it a little differently. I got two different expressions. Don't even worry that they're over each other yet. Let's just simplify the red expression. They're both divisible by 5. Why? That's the greatest common factor. We're just factoring. This is still factoring. Factoring doesn't go away. We've been doing it since chapter 4. I think that's like September, October of fall semester. So when I divide everything by 5y, I get 2y plus 3. Okay, so now I'm going to go into my blue expression and see that 5y is also a GCF. It's the GCF. What do I have left? That's 1y minus 4. What do they have that can cancel out? 5y, right? 5y divided by 5y is 1. So what is left? 2y plus 3 divided by y minus 4. Okay, so now that I can't simplify this anymore, this is the simplified expression right here. Now I need to figure out my domain restrictions. So here's a hint that will help you. You don't necessarily have to go all the way back to the beginning of the problem, but you can't go right here. Okay, there's more than just that one thing, one restriction. In this one, we actually have 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right here. I'm going to take this part. 5y times y minus 4. And I'm going to say that this can't equal 0. I'm going to solve for y. This is a zero product property. So 5y is equal to 0. Y minus 4 is equal to 0. So, well, it's not equal to 0, but you know what I mean. So y is not allowed to equal 0. And y is not allowed to equal positive 4. Those are my domain restrictions for this. So these go together. There's 2 answers. All right, let's take a look at this problem. Same idea. So my numerator, I can't really simplify that anymore. All right, that's pretty much done. There's nothing, nothing's getting added or subtracted, so we can't do anything up there. That's nice. Now the denominator, what's its greatest common factor between 4 and 24? Definitely 4a cubed. And when I divide by 4a cubed, I get 1a plus 6, right? Because a cubed divided by a cubed is 1, so it's gone. Now I'm like, well, what cancels out? Oh, 4a cubed, that's gone. There's nothing left on the top, so that means it's 1. If I cancel everything out, it's just 1. 1 over a plus 6. Okay, let's go and figure out what values. So what values for a make the expression undefined? That's another way that they will ask it. So remember the trick I told you? Go right here to where you simplified it all the way. Let's do it in green because we've been doing it in green. And it's not equal to 0. I want to figure out what a is not allowed to equal. So 4a cubed cannot equal 0, and a plus 6 cannot equal 0. And I'm going to solve for a. Well, this first one A just can't equal 0, and it's okay to have multiple answers. And over here, A is not allowed to equal -6. So those are my two restrictions on my domain. All right, so you guys take a look at the simple, like just common monomial factors, right? I didn't do anything insane. This was just greatest common factor type stuff. You are going to need to be able to factor quadratics other ways. So if that's something you need to brush up on, then go watch some videos on that.